Right.
You need a mic.
We are preparing to make a shot of beautiful Sheffield, and me speaking about
Can you hear me well?
Very well. Angel is
The camera is being set.
Angel is camera op. Suraj is, as always. Who are you, Suraj? You're Suraj.
I'm sound.
It all started in 2016 with my parents suggesting me to make a film about Donetsk People's Republic already. And our actual journey was in 2017, September, where for the first time me and Angel went actually to Donetsk, two of us. We were filming there for 2 days, literally. And we were very lucky. We were given a car and a journalist. He's more like a camera operator who works for Reuters. And with him, we were driving around the areas of the city, mostly which are allowed because even he doesn't have access to the actual shootings, the actual inside the airport. But we were driving pretty close to the places where there were actual shootings in 2014. The most shocking part, the highlight of this whole filming was when we reached the closest street to the airport where people live. And with him, with his journalist, we were able to not just interview the guy who lives on that street, but enter inside his house. And I don't think I will be able to do it myself. It comes with experience, with age probably. And we, for the first time, we actually saw how people live in that condition, how people suffer, how he rebuilds house himself. We were not that experienced, I would say, for the first time, but we managed to get much more stuff than we were expecting. We come back to London with what we have, and we start structuring a trailer. I started digging into 19th century with the formation of Donetsk, with the story about John Hughes, with Sheffield link, and how we can link this film for British audience. Because by then we realized that we're not making this film for my family, for family and friends in Ukraine and Donetsk. In fact, we want to hide this film from Ukraine because people who give us the kind of open up their hearts and their opinions shouldn't be seen by Ukrainian kind of opposition, because that would put them into danger. And obviously here comes stuff like ethics and stuff like making sure that you interview the contributors right. Second big filming we had was in Kiev with people who are mainly against people in Donetsk, people who are pro-Western, pro-Ukrainian, and most of them are quite aggressive. So by this time, I already had clear set of questions, because first of my 2-3 interviews were really, really vague. I had questions, I structured my questions, but for me, as a person who never directed any documentary, one thing is to interview my grandparents, and the other thing is to interview kind of people who are pro-right, people who quite aggressive in the expression. I had to be very careful with what I ask, had to be very kind of specific, not to go off topic and not to show my own opinion. And what happened is, with the help of my family, we managed to gather two, probably for me, the most difficult people I ever interviewed, especially one of them. They are the fighters, the real kind of anti-terrorist zone, they're called anti-terrorist fighters in Donetsk. And they are not people who were called to join the Ukrainian army. They are people who formed their own battalions, voluntary battalions, And these people were going to Donetsk to shoot other people. So that was really, really scary because I had to talk to the actual murderers, the actual, killers, snipers. They go to Donetsk and they volunteered to kill people from the same country, people who speak the same language. And that's what worries me, but they're not worried about that. They're worried about the lands which Russia would take. So for me now, in the edit stage, the problem is how to make it come across without forcing it, how let them speak for themselves. We had an interview, very long interview with the ex-politician who was very clear in expressing his opinion, his thoughts, and he's kind of the core of our influence, Ukrainian understanding, independency, because he is, as a politician, ex-politician, he speaks really, really well. Our second filming in Donetsk was, the reason for that filming was to add stuff we didn't get the first time. If the first time we were filming residential areas, houses, personal loss, this time we wanted to get more of a global picture, more of how in general Donetsk suffered. So this time again we were with a car, we were with another journalist who had less experience, but we were able to get to some places which were not really accessible. For example, we went to one center of culture, abandoned center of culture, just broke in. And this was the place for the first time I saw blood, dry stains of blood on the wall in Donetsk. This is something when you realize the war is right in front of you, This is where people die. This is a good metaphor for having beautiful, prosperous, cultural city, how I remember it, with complete destruction of this culture. This is not just a person who lost his house, this is the whole essence of Donetsk. For me, in this building, it was there, while I was there. The leftovers of glass, walking on glass, seeing that there was a referendum happening. We went to graveyards of kids, very scary, very shocking. I was just a couple of days ago, I was talking to these soldiers from battalion who say, we help them, we fighting for our territory, for our nation, and there I see that from their hands, these kids die. We filmed more than we are going to be using in the final cut, I think way more, but this built a very good base and a core of what this war is about. Additional filming in UK included going to Sheffield Coal Mining Museum, going to Wales, to Merthyr Tydfil, but this is minor. This is an introduction section where we link in Donetsk and the UK. This part of film is about history, presenting Donetsk as kind of coal mining, industrial city, prosperous city, and this is something hopefully of an interest to a British person who's watching it. And right now we are on the editing stage, creating. And again, I, as a director for the first time, I'm working with an editor from outside university, professional editor. We are working with someone who wasn't with us from the beginning, someone who doesn't know much about the topic, English person. And here now I have to use as much as possible my kind of knowledge and understanding to give to him in the most clear way, explain as a director what exactly we want to have and what exactly we don't want to have. I learned how to make a transcript, so that's a new thing of directing a documentary, and also kind of transferring transcript on screen, how exactly you put what people are metaphorically saying in Russian in English. We also got a professional composer from Kiev. So that's again another new thing for me. Like, I haven't worked with a professional composer before. So again, concise, clear explanation to a person who, again, he knows about the topic because he's from Kiev, but he doesn't know about our film in details. So this was a very important part of post-production. For the first time, I'm directing a feature and a documentary, and it's really interesting. I think I'm learning a lot, and I hope that in this film we will put enough information for Western audience to learn together with us.